I was critical of Spurs obviously in the League Cup final. They didn't really give it a go. And we were just bad last night. And if you look over the two legs, Jim, you've got to be perfectly honest as well. Villarreal deserved to go through.
Yes.
Because even in the first leg when they're 2-0 up, Leno makes a brilliant save, could go 3-0. We get a dubious penalty to keep us in it. And I actually thought, as a football fan, you hold on to these like positive thoughts. You thought, you know what, we should have really gone out and we still got a chance. And Pepe scores the penalty, gives us a chance. And I was just so amazed at the way we started the game. There was no intensity. There was no pressing. Even if the players actually looked a little bit frightened. They looked like they were nervous. You could tell in their passing. If you're giving the ball away, I can half understand it sometimes, but actually not going and press and win it back. And the 4-1-4-1 formation I thought was a little bit strange as well.
What's going on?
Like Smith Rowe and Odegaard in that centre midfield area. Kieran Tierney's legs went after 55 minutes. You could tell he was running on treacle. He should have been given the hook a lot earlier. At half-time, Arteta should have put another gone 4-4-2 because Rooney, their goalkeeper. Sometimes football is quite basic stuff.
Yeah,
I think Arteta tries to overcomplicate it, and it's coaching by numbers. Get the ball wide, go 4-4-2, put two up front, whether it's Martinelli and Aubameyang or Lacazette and Aubameyang. Get it wide, get the ball into the box, and create pressure by putting the ball into the box. We couldn't create pressure by passing.
You've said on a number of occasions that you think the problem with Mikel Arteta is that he overthinks things.
Yeah.
And if you're a football fan, be it of Arsenal or Real Madrid or Leyton Orient or Runcorn Town, there are two facts that you know. If you ever see a goalkeeper flap, then from then on in, get to the byline and get the ball in the box. Because they flap once, they'll flap twice.
Yeah.
That's a golden rule, whoever you are. And also, in the situation you're in, be it in the semi-final of the Europa League or be it in the semi-final of the President's Cup down on the Park, don't go out by drawing 0-0.
No.
Lose
exactly.
3-1.
Yeah.
Give it a go. That's what I'm
fighting.
saying.
There was Perry, a short question
that is
to you.
Impotent.
As we look at it this morning, was last night, and you're Arsenal through and through, was it unacceptable?
Yes, the performance last night was unacceptable from the players because, as I said, even if you're not good on the ball, you can go and close. But it looks like they're looking for Arteta's sort of acceptance where he's pointing where they should go. Just an example. How many times did Bernd Leno have the ball with a goal kick and put it in the middle and think, oh, am I going to pass it to my left? Am I going to pass it to my right? By that time, the Villarreal front three, they want to close you down. So sometimes you have to say to players, look, I want it, but if it ain't on, get it down and get it done quickly because then it stops Villarreal coming up to pressure.
Yeah.
So then it goes sideways to Holding, sideways to Mari, back to Leno, sideways. Villarreal know what you're going to do. So I thought there wasn't enough players, I must admit as well, that took responsibility on the ball. There was too many people who didn't say, give me the ball, I'm going to do something
But
about
this Friday morning, Perry, 9th in the Premier League, no European football for the first time in a quarter of a century. Now, I know if Arteta is listening to this morning, or Steve Brown's a pal of mine, or if Kieran's driving at the training ground or whatever, they'll be thinking, oh, they've started early. We're justifiably dissecting this. No European football in 25 years. Surely it's unacceptable. Surely there has to be change.
When you get...
Unacceptable means you do something about it.
Well, the thing
There's
is,
got to be change.
This isn't a sort of a landslide all of a sudden. No. This is a slow erosion. This has been happening for probably 10 to 12 years with bad recruitment, like a lack of ambition.
But they are where they are, Perry. Does it have to be changed now?
It has to be a change.
Does he go? Does Arteta go?
He's not going to go, Jim, because they won't sack him from now to the end of the season. But
is his position untenable?
No, it's not untenable at the moment. But it can be very quick, and he's very lucky that there's no crowds in. If there was crowds in on Sunday at home against West Brom, even if it was 4,000, that would be pretty vitriolic. And he's now one game away, because if he gets beat by West Brom, then I think that he'll go.
But tell me why he's still the right man going into the game against West Brom.
Because I think I've seen stuff... He's actually got... The thing that worries me is he's actually got worse and he's over-coaching and he's making strange... When he first went in there, he tried to put his mark on. He obviously won the FA Cup, which no one saw coming, obviously with the semi-final and the final, playing like Man City and Chelsea. And then he had the goodwill of the Arsenal fans. I still think there's a manager in there, but I think he's not getting enough help from me. You mentioned the coaching staff. That doesn't inspire me either. And I think he's made bad decisions with Aubameyang, for instance. When he dropped him before the local derby against Spurs, you need your captain on your side. And players get treated differently. It don't matter.
But he had no choice then to drop him, did he not?
No, yes, he did.
He
because
stepped out of line.
All depends if he's late and he's late in the car or he's come down, it's once. You put him to one side and say, right, you're going to be fine. You do that again, I'm going to have to leave you out. But you need your captain to help. Look at Sir Alex Ferguson with Eric Cantona. He actually begged him to come back, and he had kung fu kick to play. So you treat players differently.
So you still give him time. You still you still give Arteta time.
I would give him until the end. But what it needs,
that's not
Jim,
because you're close to the club or you're ex-Arsenal.
No, I'll tell you why.
You're watching what you're saying.
No,
you
I'll
don't
tell
want
you
to
why.
go over the top, and it's not even going over the top.
No, it's not. No,
go.
I'm very critical of Arteta at this particular time because he's gone backwards. But Solskjaer went for a dodgy time. Manchester United, I think it was April 2019, where that was the worst period they've had for 57 years.
You just admitted this has been a slow burn. Ole and Manchester United have turned it round.
But there's more than just Arteta in the slow burn. This team now needs 150 million quid minimum to put us back, not just to get into the top four. So then the owners have questions to ask whether they're going to invest the money in the summer, 150 million quid. And if they're not going to invest the money, then we're going to be languishing in mid-table obscurity and looking downwards instead of up. So then the question marks with the owners will be, you've said the right things that you're going to back the manager. Are you going to back it? Are you going to sell? Because they'll want
They're not going to sell. He says he's not going to sell.
Is he even more vulnerable, Arteta? Because at some point they're going to think, you know what, there's going to be some heads rolling here.
No, if
Let's
they
get rid of him.
they want to take the pressure off themselves.
Yeah.
If it really does turn vitriolic on the owners, then he could be like the Pats and think, well, we'll curry favour. But then, Jim, the problem you have is the next manager you bring in, you've still got to back him with those sort of funds.
Yeah.
If you don't back him with 150 million quid, Arsenal is still going to be.
But the bottom
ninth.
line question is Mikel Arteta able enough, competent enough to be the man in charge of Arsenal? Forget the owners, forget Kroenke. He's not selling. Daniel Ek, beat it with your Spotify. We're not selling to you. So
if the right
is
price,
Arteta
they would sell.
The right man? That's the only question in town.
I think he should be backed because you keep hiring and firing managers. I think he should be backed with funding because he will say these aren't his players and there's still a lot of deadwood. We paid in 2016-17, we paid £35 million for Mustafi. There's loads of deadwood that's been bought. There's loads of deadwood that needs to go out. He's tried to change the culture.
Petty, I watched Martin Odegaard last night stroll over to take a corner. Where was the urgency last night?
I'm saying that worries
me. Let's get rid of this Villarreal and get to a final.
The lack of character in the team in that one-off game where the pressure is mounting.
Does that stem from the manager?
I think it stems from overcoaching from the manager.
Yeah, it's got to stem from the manager. It's got to, because at some point you've got to stand there. You've got to look at the clock and think, right, John Beck was very rarely right, but he's right now. And now that's what we need to do.
Well, let's put it out there this morning. Whether they like it or whether they don't like it, Arsenal are looking at no European football at all for the first time in 25 years. So where as a club do they go from here? Is Arteta's position as Arsenal manager now untenable? Now, Perry Groves, ex-Arsenal, says no. He's still got time, but do you honestly believe that? You watch what's happened, and the most passionate of Arsenal fans, we want to hear from you this morning. 08717 223344 81089. It seems crazy to me, European football next season, but without Arsenal in it. Arsenal, one of the biggest names in English football, are going to be nowhere to be seen in Europe next season. Why is that, and what should the consequence be? Perry, here's one just before we hit the break. Who's in a worse state right now, Arsenal or Tottenham?
I would say at this particular time, if I'm being perfectly honest, we are at the moment.
All you need to know is 10:15.